In the news this week, explosive allegations of an underage international student deported from Perth despite no recorded wrongdoing, with TAFE International facing significant criticism from community advocates.
We have an extended exclusive coverage on this matter, and later, Dr. Andrew Miller's comment.
This is The Evening News with Ivan Loon and Maliva Thorne.
Good evening. WA News can exclusively reveal that an underage female international student was deported from Perth, allegedly no recorded wrongdoing. Renowned community advocate Suresh Rajan gave the bombshell revelation about this unreported incident, which happened back in March of this year. Here's Paige Reid.
The deportation of an international student has exposed alleged misconduct and incompetence by the staff at TAFE International Western Australia. The girl, who is a minor, was sent back despite allegations that she had suffered verbal abuse at her homestay.
But you are so elite, you are so narcissistic, you're so self-centered and egoistic. It's everybody else's fault. You're the perfect person, right? I'm giving you notice now. Have some nerve to talk to me like this in my house. I asked you a question. Answer me. Yes or no? Do you accept any responsibility that your behavior is affecting other members of this home? Yes or no?
And I have to answer you. If you're not satisfied, just call it right now, please.
We now bring you this extended interview with community advocate Suresh Rajan and the victim herself. We have blurred her face to protect her identity.
Looks like an overstretch of authority on a number of levels. She was a homestay boarder, and she had indicated right from the very start, even before she moved into that place, that her routine is somewhat unusual. She goes to school. Let me emphasize, she's a 16-year-old child here we're talking about. She goes to school, she comes home at about 3:30 in the afternoon, and she usually has a sleep from then till about 11 o'clock at night, and then spends the rest of the night studying. And she doesn't go out anywhere. She spends the time in the house, in the homestay accommodation that she's in, which we understand was being rented by somebody else and then sublet to her. She has her own room, and there's a bathroom close by to her. Late one night, about a week or so after she'd moved into the place, and the landlord was well aware of what exactly her routine was, and there was no issue in that respect. But all of a sudden, the property head tenant suddenly started asking her to stop going to the toilet at night, stop staying up all night, and started to really address her very, very, I guess vehemently is probably the best way to describe it, and started banging on her door one night and demanding that she come out. And she said, look, I'm not going to come out until such time as you've calmed down. But she did then record everything that transpired as well. And over the next few hours, she was berated by the head tenant, and a number of accusations made. Nothing that goes to her behavior, other than the fact that she stayed up all night to study, which to me sounds extraordinary. But nevertheless, this went on for quite a number of hours, and eventually the head tenant then called the police and also called TIWA, I think it's the TAFE International WA group that looks after international students. So they look after all international students, both at the tertiary and at the primary, secondary level. They came and, in my view, completely overstepped their authority, where they advised her that they were going to cancel her certificate of enrolment. And as a result of the cancellation of the certificate of enrolment, her visa would be then cancelled because she's no longer a student. They then advised her to pack up all her things, and made her pack all her things within the next 10 minutes and transported her by car from there to the airport, where she was handed over to federal police and had to leave the country and go back to her country of origin. Now, that was a complete overstretch on, as far as I can tell. I've gone through the policies of cancellation of certificates of enrolment. There's a requirement for warnings to be given. No warnings were given, and subsequent inquiries by the family have indicated that there were no complaints about anything about her behavior anywhere else. Again, remembering that she's a 16-year-old child. At one point in the conversation, I believe the police asked her to go to the toilet before they headed off to the airport to escort her out of the country. And they asked her to go to the toilet, but not to close the door. For a 16-year-old young girl, that was completely inappropriate. And she quite rightly said no, and she then refused to go to the toilet. So that was an issue in itself. Why were the police behaving in that fashion? Anyone would think from the behavior that's been reported to us that the police have had a hardened criminal on their hands. But what we're talking about is, and I've met the girl, and I've had a conversation with her, quite an extended conversation. She is a mere child. She's about 5'2", and she's a very well-spoken, very respectful young lady, and she's also very capable, very adept at looking after herself, and she doesn't need this sort of behavior. The impact on her long term is going to be something that we have to be very mindful of, because I would not want to be in her position thinking about what it is that she's allegedly to have done here when she's done nothing. She has done absolutely nothing. The overstretch by the authorities in this case is unacceptable. I don't know whether there's any issues of racism involved here, but it certainly is a considerable overstretch on the rules that they have.
Were you surprised the way that you were treated? Were you shocked?
Yes, because I actually don't know what did I did wrong, or like why am I getting sent back? And I have no right to explain as we try and communicate, and they're saying they don't have to communicate with us.
What's their attitude towards you while you're at the airport?
I feel like I was treated like a criminal. There was 5 police around me when I was at the airport.
And how long were you waiting for the plane to go back?
Around 6 hours. So I arrived at the airport around 7 p.m. and the flight is at 2 a.m. in the morning the next day.
What were you doing during those 6 hours?
I was trying to get help from some lawyers, so I was calling lots of law firms, and I've also called a consulate, and I've tried to show the videos to the federal police, and they actually said there's some issues with the lady. She shouldn't treat a minor like that.
They've been treating you like this. Do you regret coming to Australia?
A bit, because I didn't expect I'm gonna treat like that. So I did nothing wrong, and I was deported for no reason.
So you're back in Australia. How do you manage to come back, and what's happening to you now?
So my mum flew back to Perth with me 2 days after. Then we went to lots of law firms for doing like consultations until we found a lawyer now. And he helped us to manage like all those stuff, finding a new guardian and reinstating my confirmation of enrollment.
I understand that you've been seeing a psychologist.
Yeah, the psychologist suggests me to go every week to visit her.
So why do you have to see her more often?
Because she believed after this incident, I've got some psychological shadows.
What has been the impact on you?
I'm always scared that the TWA, Education Department, and the homestay will deport me or cancel my enrollment for no reason again.
And you have been, before your COE was reinstated, what did they say to you? Because you did met with them.
We've asked them, why did they say many times that don't think about coming back to Western Australia government school to study, or don't think about coming back to the country and study. So the answer they gave us was because they have to comfort the homestay, so they said that to me.
So what's next for you? What are you fighting for now? Why do you go public?
Just, I think to do the same thing to more other international students, like deporting them for no reason and not letting them to come back. And actually, I know there's lots of homestays also being mean or abusing those homestay students. For example, there's a lady said the student can have 5-minute shower when they go visit, but after they get in and live in the house, the lady said the student can only have 4-minute shower, and if their clothes is not dirty or it doesn't smells, they can't wash their clothes. And also the kid didn't have 3 meals, like she don't feel full after eating the 3 meals.
It's not been an easy journey for you to get back to school as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not that easy. So when they asked us to put in an appeal, we found a lawyer to help us. To get all the reports about me, he got in touch with Tiwa through email. At the same time, my mother sent Tiwa the video that she had taken that day. Since they didn't respond to my lawyer and we don't have any reports, we haven't put in an appeal. But one day, surprisingly, they informed us via email that my appeal was successful.
Are you surprised about that? Suddenly out of blue, everything's okay again?
Yeah, because we haven't put in an appeal, but they just suddenly sent us my appeal was successful.
The wellbeing of international students in Western Australia has been brought to light following the alleged incident you saw earlier. WAMN News understands that Mr Rajan raised the matter with his Labor MP and Parliamentary Secretary for International Education, Yas Mubarakai, as well as with one of the Assistant Commissioners within WA Police. This story comes at a time when the state government aims to double the number of international students in WA, and Mr Rajan says more measures need to be in place to ensure such incidents do not happen again. He joined me exclusively to discuss the matter.
The Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister for Education has asked for a briefing from the department. He's still waiting on that. We haven't received that yet, and I'd hope that, we had a couple of conversations yesterday, and he was expecting to get it later that yesterday and would come back to me. I haven't heard back yet. The Assistant Police Commissioner was quite horrified at what he heard, so he was going away to have a look at the full investigation, look at the incident report. I've asked for the body cam data to be given to us as well. At this stage, I haven't heard back from them yet, so they've only just got it. Hopefully we'll find out in the next day or so exactly what transpired. I have no reason whatsoever to doubt the young girl. She struck me as a person who is extremely reliable. Look, she's lived away from home a little while, as in she was living in the Gold Coast for 2 years before she came here. So she is from overseas. So she was living 2 years, from the age of about 14. She's been quite comfortable being away from home. Age 16, she's now in Perth. Her 2 years at the Gold Coast were uneventful. In the various conversations she's had with the department subsequent to all of this happening and her coming back, she's indicated to them and asked them whether or not there were any complaints about any of her behavior, and they've categorically indicated that there were no complaints whatsoever about anything that she's done in the past. So there's nothing to point to, there's no record, and they've given no warnings to her of any misbehavior in the past, and she really hasn't misbehaved at all. It is just that the person did not like the fact that her routine involved staying up late while she was studying, and all she was doing was studying.
So, what do you make of the claims? What are your thoughts around it?
My thoughts are that the Tiwa people have overreacted, and they've acted well outside their authority. I think it's a case of them immediately taking the side of the person who has provided the accommodation, rather than actually listening to this young girl. I'm not sure why that's the case, but it suggests that there is something that needs to be done about the culture of that department, and there's some serious things that need to be done in that department around the inclusion of people and also the treatment of people in an appropriate fashion.
Would you like to see anyone take accountability for what's happened here?
I think without question the Minister needs to take accountability for what's happened, because this all stems from a position where the department appears to have overstepped its authority considerably, and we need to understand that the department is actually sanctioned on this, and that the Minister is the only one who can do that.
So by department you mean Tiwa?
Tiwa.
TAFE International.
The TAFE International WA.
What do you make of their treatment of this student, particularly in regards to the alleged toilet incident that happened with the police?
I think that this all shows a lack of understanding of their own rules, lack of understanding of the proper treatment of young people, and that's the worrying thing, because if this is just one of a number of incidents, I would be very concerned about the culture of that department.
You mentioned the body cam footage, you've requested that. Do you think this impact highlights current concerns you may already have regarding international students and homestays?
I've been very concerned about a number of issues around homestay for international students. We appear to be taking a hands-off approach. We arrange the accommodation, and after that, I just don't know how much accountability there is. I've been involved with a couple of different institutions where the parents have been very, very good and provided international students some accommodation with their own children. That's been terrific, that's been great, but this one appears to be a hands-off approach where we've said, here's an association that will address that, but who's monitoring the association to ensure that they're looking after the welfare? For a long time, I've been concerned about the welfare of international students. We don't care about their mental health status. We don't care about their welfare. All we seem to be caring about is the fees that they pay. And that needs to change. Every time the government has talked about doubling the number of international students, my response to them has been, as soon as you start taking care of their mental health and their welfare, then I'll be happy to support your call for a greater number of international students. But until that happens, it's not appropriate for me to do so.
How will this impact future international students, either wanting to come to Australia or their treatment in Australia? What are your thoughts?
I imagine by now at least 20 other families in the country of origin of this girl would have heard about her treatment, and they're not likely to be sending their children. You could imagine that someone who's disenchanted will be telling all of their friends that Australia's or Perth is not the place to be, simply because you can't guarantee your safety in a homestay. And that would be spreading around the student population, and those potential students that have come here are not going to be coming here.
Do you think this potentially points to racism in Australia within either homestays, police, Tiwa? What are your thoughts?
I think there is a level of stereotyping and racism that's occurring here. I think we have a view about difference that we immediately apply to everyone with that difference. So if the difference is a person who's come from overseas, then we somehow stereotype every person who comes from overseas as being who falls into this group, and then we apply our behavior accordingly. Unfortunately, it is something that we see quite a lot of, and we just need to make sure that we educate people to understand that this girl is a 16-year-old child and would be no different to their own children at that age.
As a question, as a young person myself, it raises the question that do you think that within either authorities or within maybe older adults, there's a view that young people just shouldn't be listened to or not maybe worth as much when it comes to their story?
I think that young people do carry that burden of, they're expected to be seen but not heard, and that's something that we need to change. There are some very, very capable young people, and this girl is one of them, and we need to address that and treat her as an adult, but with appropriate, safeguards in place.
The WA government has officially launched a community stakeholder consultation process to help shape the future design and delivery of the new Perth Entertainment and Sporting Precinct at Burswood Park. The project aims to transform the area into a vibrant hub for entertainment, sports, culture and community activities, in line with the Burswood Park's 20-year vision. The proposed precinct will feature a new outdoor amphitheatre as well as a multi-use track and flexible facility for sporting and community events, and a marquee annual motorsport festival. An online consultation platform has been launched, and more than 25,000 households in surrounding suburbs will receive information encouraging their input. A series of community drop-in forums and feedback sessions will also take place over the coming months.
A bikie gang member has been shot multiple times in Rockingham this week, prompting police to seek information from the public. The case happened on Thursday night at 9:55 p.m. when a man was found collapsed outside Rockingham Hospital's emergency department with multiple gunshot wounds and injuries to both of his legs. The 51-year-old man was transferred to Royal Perth's hospital's trauma unit, where he is in a stable condition. Police confirmed the man has links to the Comanchero's outlaw bikie gang, saying it was a targeted attack and there is no ongoing risk to safety. Detective Senior Sergeant Anthony Thompson says police will not tolerate brutal violence, intimidation and standover tactics. Anyone with information about this shooting is urged to contact Crime Stoppers.
WA veteran political journalist Peter Kennedy was awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia this week for his service to the media in both broadcast and print. Mr. Kennedy received his award at Government House in Perth. He was one of more than 30 people honoured in this year's Australia Day Honours list. It has been reported that 21 medals of the Order of Australia Awards and 11 members of the Order of Australia Awards were presented. Mr. Kennedy was a veteran political journalist in print before later joining the ABC, where he worked until retirement from daily reporting in 2010. He also regularly provided commentary and analysis on WA News during key moments. His generosity and commitment to mentoring younger reporters are to be celebrated.
Oh, well, Ivan, it's a great honour to receive an award like this. It's a big surprise. It's a great honour, but for me personally and my family, but also for journalism and the media. And I think it acknowledges the role that the media plays in our society, keeping the community informed, which is most important.
Well done to Peter. And now, here is Dr. Andrew Miller with his weekly medical and news commentary.
Hi, thanks for your time. Mother's Day is a positive day, a day for gratitude, but it can also be a day of mixed emotions, as of course motherhood itself can be. While we all have a mother, we don't necessarily have a mum around anymore in our lives, and it's important to reflect, I think, on what it is to be a human, to be compassionate and to be caring, and all of those qualities that we really respect and appreciate for our mothers, if we're lucky enough to have had that in our lives. I, for one, am very grateful for the influence that my mother's had these 98 years she's been on the earth, and we've shared it for 60 of those years, and I got to spend some time with her today, just appreciating her company, which really is the main thing that she wants, the main thing that many mothers want from their kids is just that time to be together. So while we acknowledge that there can be bittersweet aspects to all relationships, and the mother-child relationship included, it really is a fundamental part of who we are and of our mental health, of our social health, of our community's health, that we respect our mothers, and that we, wherever they may be, however close to them we may be or not, that we acknowledge that if it weren't for them, we wouldn't be here. And that's one thing to be grateful for. Thanks for your time.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website, wamnnews.com.au.
And of course, you can read all our exclusive report details on the WAMN Extra News Club, wamnews.com.au/news/extra, supporting independent local news, keeping democracy strong. Well, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time after our seasonal break for this bulletin. Until then, wish you good health, good night. See you then.
Thanks for watching.